With content operations responsible and able to contribute to so many areas within an organization, let's look at what it actually does. Let's look at the functions of content ops. Content operations contributes to planning, policy, process, analysis, quality, and team support. Content operations helps with planning, implementing the content orchestration model, moderating change management, and overseeing requirements, roadmap, publishing calendars, and author and stakeholder training. All of that helps content to come alive. Content operations also helps with policy. It's one of the key stakeholders making sure to meet standards compliance, legal and regulatory management, company guidelines, product and terminology management. All of those standards have to come into action, and the best way to do that is to have a process that is maintaining those standards. Ops make sure to put in that process and to monitor how it's working every single day. Also, process oversees workflows, content lifecycles, project management, content velocity, content transformations, and localization workflow management. Localization in some organizations is a big deal, and usually it has its own team, but Ops helps all of those folks work together along with the bigger picture of the content supply chain. And content operations deals closely with analysis, improving analytics workflows, requirements capturing, dashboard management, and all of the content technology configurations. All of those things have to reflect the standards that have been put in place by strategy. And so, if nobody's watching, it's possible for those standards and those systems to get out of whack. Ops keeps it all together. And Ops wouldn't be Ops without paying attention to quality. Ops is responsible for a lot of content quality dynamics, including version control, content quality, structure and semantic standards adherence, all of those author experience pieces that makes content flow, and all of the tools and onboarding management that keeps quality in place at every touch point. Quality is a process, and that process has to be maintained by, you guessed it, Ops. Content Ops provides a team support function for content roles that share standards and process. Without support, things are very, very likely to fall apart with people waiting for things to continue to evolve before they're able to move their piece forward. So, who helps to connect the dots? Who can you call when there's a problem? That's Content Ops. And who's involved in this? That's everybody that deals with content directly. Authors, technical writers, content designers, UX writers, content strategists, editors, localization specialists, semantic specialists, and so many others. Content is complicated. In large organizations, this can be hundreds of people across dozens of teams. And a content operations environment in that kind of enterprise needs to be very significant. In a small team, it can be one person, but there needs to be somebody to call when content goes wrong. Ops is that go-to team for helping unblock stuck places in the content supply chain and improve processes that get broken. All right, we've covered Content Ops functions. There's a lot of them, right? Okay, what are the goals of Content Ops? Very simply, first, it's to manage the content supply chain. The content supply chain doesn't happen unless somebody's running it. And that is what Ops does every single day. They monitor the health of it and they keep it rolling. Now, second goal, oversee content production workflows, and facilitate best practices, standards, and optimizations across the various authoring groups within an enterprise ecosystem. All of those standards don't enforce themselves, and if you just have all content going through some governance board in the cloud, it's going to take a long time for anything to happen. We need to enable in-place teams and in-place processes to be as nimble as possible. The best way to do that is with a portfolio view managed by an ops team that enables the flow of those processes and maintains the systems that keep those things moving. Next, manage all the content transformation and enrichment workflows, all of those parts of the content lifecycle that are not directly related to the subject matter expert authoring the content. That is significant. In some organizations, dozens of people touch every single content asset. In others, it's all done by one person. Regardless of what size it is, somebody needs to pay attention to the stages and states of content and make sure that all the boxes are getting checked. That is content ops. Next, we really want to make sure ops is helping to increase developer and author efficiency by offloading all those tasks that don't require developer or author attention. That makes everyone more efficient and moves everything faster because all the specialists are focusing on what they're specialized on and not the mechanics of the content. Next, they should facilitate the education and adoption of standards and systems and the enterprise content lifecycle that's been documented in the content orchestration model. Those things, if they're just artifacts, nobody will know about. Somebody needs to advocate and educate. Content ops can play an important role in that, along with their partners, content strategy and content engineering. Next, there's an important role that content ops plays with IT. IT really doesn't always understand content systems. I will say sometimes they do, but it's rare. IT usually really understands database systems and don't really always know all the complex things that content systems require. And that's why content ops can act as an all-important liaison between IT and all the content producing organizations. They act as a very important advocate for content within IT and within collaboration with IT partners. Next, very similarly, content ops can collaborate with technical development teams, especially where systems that are in-house are managing the content that drives customer experience. And if those systems don't have a content advocate, it's very possible that the developers are heading in the wrong direction. So content ops can provide stakeholders in those conversations to keep everything heading in the right direction to support the customer experience and the efficiency of the content orchestration model. Next, we need to increase content flow and effectiveness with content ops via consulting and facilitating with all the internal content committees, communities of practice, governance, oversight groups, all of those things that help to create awareness around content strategy, content engineering, content operations, and ultimately content intelligence to support intelligent customer experience. Chartering a content operations function as part of a larger CSO is a step toward a smarter organization, an important step, and it immediately elevates other established teams and functions. As a key practice within the content services organization, content operations works with strategy to understand the organization's content and the business goals, and collaborates with content engineering to ensure the systems and the infrastructure support the process. And it empowers content teams to work more effectively with content so that the end result is the best it can be. In this episode, we explored the functions of content operations and saw how it works with the content orchestration model. Check out more episodes for additional insights on the CSO, plus an example of the content orchestration model in action. A reminder, subscribe and ring the bell for notifications when latest episodes are released. There's a lot more to explore in this invisible world of content. Until we meet again, let's take one step at a time towards a smarter world.